Hello, girls. Welcome on in. If you're new here, I'm Shiron Dune, author of Date Like Cleopatra, The Good Girl Flips the Script. And today we are talking about intuition. But before, you truly need to let me do this. Before we get into it, one day that will stop amusing me. But until then, there you have it. So I'm talking about my journey into intuition, connecting with my intuition. And I want to demystify it for all of you. I did not go into some deep forest and look up at the sky at midnight and get a certain blessing. No, it wasn't anything like that. My journey to my intuition was interesting because, first of all, I thought I had no connection to it. And then I came to realize that I always had. So go grab a drink and let's talk about this. So, intuition. I'd always thought that intuition was this kind of magic thing that people talk about. Like this magic voice that comes in the dark and tells you, this is the way you shall go. Go, go, go. In my head, I have the voice of Mufasa. Yeah, James Earl Jones is saying just that. But no, in my case, when seriously started thinking about intuition, what had happened is that I was on a journey to find myself. Truly, truly, a journey to enjoy my life more, to be more centrally placed within my own life. I felt that I was just going through the motions. It was the rat race. I was just doing things and doing things. And yes, in search of purpose, in search of meaning, trying to understand what this is all about. So I understand that that is a privileged place. To be able to go upon that journey is not something everyone can do, because it means that first of all you need to feel safe. You need to feel that your necessities are met. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to have your necessities met. You need to be okay to a large extent. You need to be okay. You need to be at peace to start looking for more, and that is where I was. So the first thing that I think about, the first thing that crosses my mind when I think about this is the realization that I had always been in touch with my intuition. When I started looking and looking, because it's these things that you just don't find. It's like the book. How can I forget the name of that book? Ay, 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 ay. Oh my God, I'll put the name in the description, but it's a book, The Alchemist. I couldn't believe I couldn't remember that name. I read the book fairly recently and I had a completely different take on it because I'm a different person in my life journey. I had read it when I was much younger. So the things that crossed me then are not the things that cross me now. Same thing with The Little Prince. I read it again fairly recently, and again, I just learned new things and uncovered new truths. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. There you go. So anyway, in The Alchemist, there's a story of this boy who's running around looking, 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 and searching, only to find that I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not decided to go read it. Only to find that he had access to what it is that he had always been searching for. And that's precisely it with me and intuition. I came to realize that throughout my life, I cook. I have always cooked. I cook very well. Thank you very much. And I don't use recipes. I'm not that kind of person. I generally will know instinctively that when I taste the food, I'll know that this needs something else, and I'll know what that something else is. Interestingly, I also had that skill when it came to mixing cocktails. I haven't done it in a long time, but it used to be something that I just get a sense that this needs this and this needs that. And not necessarily things that are everyday. I'm not talking about just salt and pepper, but just things that cross your mind that you need this kind of taste and this will give you that kind of taste and will finish it all. So, intuitive cooking. I didn't realize it was a thing until I was talking to someone, and apparently it is a whole thing. So, that surprised me because I didn't think that I had any access to intuition. But let me tell you how I cultivated it and honed it in much more, this connection to my intuition. So I was going through my journey towards feminine energy, trying to reconnect. I had a very strong, my masculine energy was strongly out there. I was doing, I was there, I was out, I was, what society really tells us all to be today. We model our lives along masculine energy traits of doing, because that's how the world is. You go to work, you do these kind of things, you need to be in your head all the time. That's really what I was. So when I started pulling away from that forward leaning energy, I started, first of all, letting go of control. I should probably do a whole session on that as well, how to let go of control. But the key there, I would say, is on letting go of control would be figuring out what I feared. What is it that I needed to control? What did I fear would happen if I let go of control? What was the first point in my life when I felt out of control and that I needed to do something to get the control back? That's the inner work. It's a lot of journeying, and that's where the introspection comes in. Because identifying that point and the thing that I was that point in my life when I was a child, when I felt that things were no longer in my hands and I could no longer control, I realized that that is what, through a lot of work. I mean, I've been going through courses, I've been doing therapy, I've been reading books. So through all of this, I realized that that little child hadn't reconciled herself with the reality that she could not be in control. So she was throughout her life striving and striving to hold on to everything so that she would retain that control. So this is me with my big age going now to tell her that, chick, we're fine. We're fine. We don't need to hold on to this anymore. You can let go. It's okay. We're safe. I, the bigger me, will take care of the smaller you. And you don't need to hold on to things. You don't need to be the one who's always there. Let me tell you how liberating that one was. Ha, 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 ha. Can you imagine? And especially if you're the kind of person who's always in control, imagine genuinely not having to be the one who's pointing out everything. You trust the people you're with, you trust the universe, you trust the world, you trust that the worst case scenario isn't horrible. Because for me, it was everything. We're going to a restaurant or we are going wherever, we're going somewhere, then I need to be the one in charge of the GPS trying to find out how it is we'll get there. And then we'd be arguing your GPS versus my GPS. It's not wrong. It's not right. We need to go this way. We need to go that way. Planning every little step, but not just the planning, but being overly leaning forward. I was the one taking the mental energy of making sure everything is okay. Partly because then I didn't trust anyone else to do it. I thought that I was the best and therefore I must do it. If they do it, it will not turn out as well as if I did it. And we are talking about directions, for crying out loud. We are talking about directions from point A to point B. Now, let me tell you, hey, Rekagwira, when I let that go, my life has changed in, I want to call it, the image I have in my mind is like TV. In those days before Technicolor, when the TV coloring used to be, those 80s films, the way they look like, versus the movies today. It's that kind of thing, like this whole surge of unknown stuff flowed into my life. And that unknown stuff was peace. Because look, this was a burden that I was bearing everywhere. And then I just let it go. So that was number one, control. Number two was setting boundaries. You might not think that this is related, but bear with me. Just listen to this. So setting boundaries with people was for me an unknown thing. How do you say no? How does that word come out of your mouth? it's not it's not experience that I truly had because of growing up as a good girl. Conditioned that you need to be the people pleaser, you need to be the nice one. So from that perspective, saying no, mm-mm, it wasn't something I did. It wasn't something that I was comfortable with. So I needed to do a lot. I needed to do a lot. There were people in my life who were helping me through this, so coaches, therapists, and giving me the energetic permission to understand that I can claim this space. That, first of all, nothing will go wrong. That I can unlearn these things that I had been told, and in so doing, claim a more central role within my own life, which is truly what I wanted to do. I wanted to live. Because insofar that I felt that I had to just keep saying yes to everybody, even if I didn't want to, then I was a character in their lives. And I wanted to be the main character in my own life. And then they could be extras. Extras who come and go, because this is my story. Yeah. So I wanted to get back into my film. And to do this, again, also a lot of books on assertion, because I didn't realize that you can say no without being rude, without being mean, without being anything else. And that how the other people take it is not my responsibility. Mine is to stand up for myself firmly, but not impolitely. It's just very firmly and clearly. And then if the other people get offended, if XYZ, fine. But that is what's happening in their movie. In their movie, I'm a villain. In their movie, they're saying, can you imagine? No, fine. In my movie, I, as a main character, had them as people passing by. So they can stay if they like, if they'll deal with my no, or they can leave. And in either case, I am fine. So, what these things were doing in terms of waking up my intuition is teaching myself to trust myself. Teaching myself to stand up for myself was telling me that I am important enough to me. Letting go of control was telling me that I could trust my intuition because I did not have to reason everything out that it told me. I did not have to tell it, no, 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 come sit down. Use a PowerPoint presentation to explain to me why this is how you got here. Mm-mm, none of that. So you see, these are little small steps, relaxing, and of course, spending time with myself was useful as well. I'll put that as a 3. Why? Because in spending time with myself and doing all these exercises I was doing, the inner work, the journaling, and all that stuff, I was getting into contact with me, the person or people inside me, the different things I wanted, the different ages that I was stuck in. And in getting to know myself better, I then had more access to this, do I call it a purer form of me? A pair of the, because that's what your intuition is. It's like a connection to your soul. It's like your soul speaking to you in some way. So without really spending time with myself, and I'll come out. I mean, the reason I didn't want to spend time with myself was, again, tied to my past. So with different versions of my inner child, or even just my young adults being stuck in different ages, having had different things happen and not having responded to them well, not being emotionally mature enough to know how to let go of past hurts. Yeah, because these aren't things we're taught. No one comes to school and tells us about emotional maturity, that you don't need to blame the people who've hurt you in your past, that you don't need to hold on to the negativity that you have been taught, that you don't need to be stuck in the points in your life where things weren't going well, and how to get yourself out of those situations and positions is what I was now really, really digging into. And it's a lifelong journey. I'm not claiming to be completely healed, that now I'm this saint, there's a halo. There is no halo. And continuously, I find out new things about myself. Let me tell you. This week, the thing that I learned about myself was that kept a lot of tension in my jaw. I truly didn't know this. And I'll speak about that whole process in another video. But I realized that I woke up with my jaw set. So it's something that I used to know. It's like I don't really grind my teeth, but I really clench them. I truly, truly clench them. And then through some kind of inner work and some journaling and some introspection, I came to understand that it was anger and frustration of the things that I could not see that had been building up in my jaw over many years. In fact, over my whole working life specifically, because this was things that I felt, in the workplace you need to be a little polite, or there are things that you can't really say even if you think them. And I mean, that's not bad in and of itself, but sometimes there are things that, depending on the environment, there are things that you would truly want to say, or either way, for whatever perspective. In my case, it was just that things that I felt over all those years in corporate had not come out, not come out of me. And that realization was astounding, because now what I have been doing is I shook it off. Did I scream? I need to go scream into a pillow to get it out of my system. But then I shook it off. I sang a little bit, actually. I was singing. So, and now I'm more conscious, and it immediately, I did the Emotion Code is a book that tells you how to get some emotions out of your system. I've spoken about it before, but I did that. I managed to get those emotions out of my system through that process. And now I realize that I don't sleep with my jaw as locked. It's not completely gone, but it's much looser. And those are things you're like, what? This life, eh? Are you just constantly going to be discovering things like that? And I'm like, yes, yes. So it's probably just a full journey. And that when I'm 70, there'll still be things that I'll be finding out and thinking, what? But what I can say is, between now and the time I started, maybe 6 years ago is where I'll put it at, I can absolutely tell you the difference. 6 years ago is when I was consciously aware of striving for more. But probably throughout my life, I have been looking for more. Yeah. So those are the 3 steps. I hope I remember them now, because I didn't use my notes. I had written some notes, but I didn't use them at all. So letting go of control, having time to yourself, and doing the inner work activities, which are journaling and all these introspection, through all these sources available to you: books, YouTube, coaching, therapy. All of those are available. I, on my website, have a course called Finding Me, where I've put in all the activities that I've put. It actually has material. There is a workbook, there is a worksheet, there are things that you're going to print down. You're going to be sitting down and writing things down. You are going to be going into yourself. There are videos, there are meditations in there. It's really, really a beautiful set of things put together to help you through the journey and setting boundaries. I hope this has been helpful for you. I always enjoy having you here. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. And if you've enjoyed this, go over to these and watch them as well. See you next time.